Well, hello, hello. I hope everyone's having a good day. As you can see, we are outside. The weather is actually very, very nice right now. It's a little cool. I have put extra layers on. I have my sweater on as well as a few extra things that I'll talk about later. But it looks like it will be a nice day. Just checking the audio for a sec. Everything sounds good. We will get started in about 5 seconds. So here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson where obviously we are going to be outside. I am very, very happy that we can be outside today. It's actually a beautiful day. The evenings here are starting to become quite cool, but the daytime temperatures are still relatively mild, I would say. You can see, though, that I am wearing an extra layer. I'm wearing a sweater today, and I'm also wearing my long johns underneath my pants. If you don't know what long johns are, they're an extra pair of pants that you wear underneath your normal pants to stay warm. I don't always wear them at this time of year, but I thought because I was going to sit outside for an hour, maybe I should wear something to help me stay warm. I also have a nice cup of hot tea here, so that will help as well. I do have the river cam set up, so if you want to kind of have a look every once in a while, I will turn that on for you. It's a little hard to see, but you can see that the leaves are starting to fall off the trees out there. The leaves are starting to turn brown, and they are starting to fall. It is a nice time of year, but I think it needs to be quite a bit cooler for us to have the full effect of what fall normally looks like. Anyways, a few things before we get started. Hi to Rod and Lolly and Julia and Sean from Free 99 English is here. Hi to Eduardo and Judith and Ario and Paul and Amina. And I'm just scrolling back. Mode Eggs. Anita is here. There are too many names to say. Lemon Cute is here. Freddie Wolf is here. I'm going to stop saying hi. I'll say hi to Eugene, though. I just saw his name. Thanks to Dave and Todd for being here to moderate the chat. Remember, the best way to use the chat is to have fun conversations with each other in English. That's the best way to do it. If you do have a question, please use the form that will be linked in the chat to ask it. And having said that, maybe I should get started. I should pull up the first question. There's already 11 questions for me to answer. TryptoPal has the first question. Here is the question. Hello, Bob. Are free video chatting websites good for learning English? As with anything that's free, you also get unpredictability. So there's no cost, but you don't know what you're going to get. So if you use websites that randomly let you video chat with other people, you're not 100% sure what you're going to see or what you're going to hear. So I would be cautious doing that. Certainly, if you use those websites, you might be able to pick up some English. I think a better suggestion would be if you like playing online computer games, try to play an online game with other English speakers on your team. That's, I think, a better way to do it. Next question is from Ruslan. Hello, Teacher Bob. How are things going with inflation in Canada? Do you have goods or services that are becoming more expensive uncontrollably? Yes, actually, this question came up in yesterday's lesson. So I did some research, and it sounds like our inflation rate for this year is 4.4%. That's the highest it's been in decades, I think. So definitely things are becoming more expensive here. The most expensive thing to buy in Canada right now is gasoline, gas, or what you would call petrol in British English. That is the most expensive thing right now. Let's see here. Mike has the next question. Hi, Bob. Could you define these? To pedal, a hobby horse, and a baddie. Thanks. Well, to pedal has two meanings depending on how you use the word pedal. So if it refers to a bike, P-E-D-A-L, it means that you're pedaling the bike. But this pedal means to sell things on the street or in a town, to go around and try to sell little things. Sometimes when we go to the Christmas parade, people are there pedaling. They're trying to sell little glow-in-the-dark sticks and things. A hobby horse is a small toy horse that a child can rock on. And a baddie is just someone who's bad. Like, oh, he's a real baddie. That's how I would use that word. Yaroslav, morning, the wisest teacher Bob. Is there any difference between point out, figure out, and find out? How to differentiate verbs to beat and to hit? Thank you. Be well. So when you point something out, it means you mention it, okay? If someone's talking and they're talking about baseball, you might point out that the rules to baseball are very hard to understand. You're simply stating something. Figure out and find out, they're somewhat interchangeable. I usually use figure out when it has to do with numbers or math, but that's not the rule. And I use find out when you're trying to discover facts about something. So if someone ate the last cookie, I would try to find out who ate the last cookie. And if I owe my neighbor money, I would try to figure out how much money I owe him. Now, again, you can switch them. It's informal, but that's how I generally use them. Oh, wait, there was another part. To beat and to hit. Yeah. So to beat, just think about this. You beat on a drum. When you beat, it involves multiple times. Okay. This is me doing karate. I apologize to anyone who's a practitioner. And if you hit, it can be one hit or multiple hits. So you can hit a drum once, or you can hit a drum multiple times. But if you were sitting and banging on a drum a lot, you would say that you would beat the drum. I think that worked. I used the verb bang in there as well. Let's see here. Hi, Bob. I am used versus I used to versus I was used to. So if I say I'm used to doing live streams, it means that it's something that is easy for me now. I have become accustomed to it. I'm used to getting up in the morning. When I say I used to do something, it means that it's something I did in the past, but I no longer do. So I used to drink coffee with caffeine in it. I don't anymore. Now I drink decaf coffee, but I used to drink coffee with caffeine in it. And if you say I was used to, it means that you were in the past accustomed to doing something. When I was young, I was used to sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night, and it was enough sleep. Now it's not anymore. So just a little bit of variation in tense and usage. Next question from Alex is, which sentence is correct? I liked this book the most. I liked this book most. Yeah, you can use both, definitely. I liked this book the most would be very specific, right? Or I like this book most. That sounds a little bit informal to me. The first one sounds the most correct and the most proper. Hey, let's go to the river cam for a sec while I do a little audio check. And let me just check yeah, everything is running really, really well. That's awesome. Cool to see. Hey, before we go back to the questions, if you are a new viewer here, don't forget to click that red subscribe button. I put out new little lessons every Tuesday. I do a live lesson every Friday, and I do 3 of these Saturday lessons each month. So a lot of fun. And I do want to give a shout out to Brent from American English with This Guy. He's here. He's in the chat. He just said, I need caffeine every day. And he put a little emoji or an icon of a coffee mug or a cup of coffee there. Yes, I used to need caffeine every day, but now I run a more even keel, I think. Let's see here. We're going to go back to the questions. Renata. Hi, Renata. Good afternoon to me and good morning to you, dear Bob. Pronounce standardized a few times, please. Standardized. It was a standardized test. In school, students in Canada take standardized tests I think every 5 years, like in grade 3, grade 8, grade 10, they take a standardized test. And do Canadians spell it like this, standardized? I spell it with a Z. There might be 2 spellings because Canada, we flip between British and American spelling sometimes, but I spell it with a Z, which some of you might call a Z, by the way. The letter that is at the end of that word, I call a Z. Merci, bonne journée, merci beaucoup. Let's see here. As busy as a bee says, hi, Bob. What can I do if I feel stuck in my English journey? I guess I've burnt out already. Action plan. Thanks a lot. All I can tell you is what I do when I get bored of learning French, because even though I'm a French speaker, I do have to study it continually. When I get bored, I do 2 things. One, I force myself to watch the news every night for 30 minutes, whether I want to or not. I just decide I have to do it. And then number 2, I find 5 new French songs and I put them on my phone and I listen to them a lot. Music for me is what gets me interested again. in a language. So that's what I do. So a little bit of, I force myself to do one thing and then I enjoy myself doing another thing. Let's see here, Judith. I'm going to fail on some of these, Judith. Hi, Bob. Can you tell me the meaning and pronunciation of, and I can't do the first one because I don't know how to pronounce it. The second one, forward, and I don't recognize froward. Okay, so forward is the only word I recognize, and an example sentence of each. Well, I'll say this. I look forward to your next question. I apologize that I'm not able to define those. For those of you watching, you should know that of those 4 words, only the word forward is used regularly by English speakers. The other ones are probably very technical words. So you might want to look them up, but would not hear those in everyday speech. So I got 1 out of 4 on that one. That's my score. Sella says, hello, Teacher Bob. You are a great teacher. How do I present myself professionally in a 2-minute interview? If you're sitting down for an interview, there's probably a leading question. If you're sitting down and you're in an interview with 2 or 3 people, there is usually what we call a leading question. They'll start by saying, welcome, Sella, to this interview. It's good to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself, or what brings you in today for this interview. So you really need to know the leading question and you need to be prepared for it. There's 2 things you can do to be prepared for it. Be ready to talk about your education and your work experience. Be familiar with, if you're doing a job interview, be familiar with the company where you're applying to work. So you can say things like this. My name's Sala. I went to university for a computer science degree. I'm very excited to be here today for this interview because I know your company is on the cutting edge of developing artificial intelligence software. So you want to be familiar with yourself, your education, your hobbies, what you've done in life, what your work experience has been, and you want to be familiar with the company you're interviewing for. Hopefully that made sense. I was a little long-winded there. So Shristi says, I enjoy your short videos. Thank you. By the way, for those of you that don't know, I have a second channel called Bob's Short English Lessons. 3 little videos a week where I look at a phrase and I ramble on a bit towards the end. What is the meaning of quintessential and quash? So quintessential would be the typical. The quintessential 50-year-old teacher wears a shirt with a collar, has gray hair, and usually wears some kind of sweater to school because they're getting a little bit old and they're starting to get a bit cold. That's the quintessential teacher. So typical. Let's get an official dictionary definition though. Meaning of I've already spelt it wrong. There we go. Representing the most perfect or typical example of something that's being described. There you go. And then when you quash something, it basically means to reject or void. Okay. So it looks to me like it's more of a legal thing, but it's to end something. So if someone is trying to present evidence in court, you might quash it, which means you don't allow them to present it. One sec, my camera did something weird. There we go. Now my table's doing something weird. Now I'm kicking everything. Here we go with the next question from Mode. Let me go to no display for a bit. Actually, let me go to Rivercam for a bit because I need a sip of tea. I'll put my hand here so you don't hear the sipping sound. My tea's a little too hot actually today. I should have cooled it off with an ice cube or something. Let me go back to Mode's question. Hi, Mr. Bob, the connoisseur. Do you pronounce the words eccentric, and succinct with or without the X sound? So eccentric, he's an eccentric person. So like an older person with weird habits, you might call eccentric. We usually use this for older people. And succinct, like precise or, very only using the amount of words you need. You want to be succinct. So eccentric, it's hard for me to say. An eccentric old man, and then succinct. What about escape? I know Brent pronounces it like escape. I say escape, sometimes we put Oscar in the garage when someone picks up flowers, and then because we don't want him to bark at them, and then he tries to escape. So I don't say escape, I say escape. I use an S sound. It might just be a difference between Canadian and American regional pronunciation between those two. Tina, it's good to see you. I don't quite understand how hat and cap differ from one another. Could you shed some light on this? For me, hat is a general term for anything you wear on your head. You can have a winter hat, you can have a baseball hat, you can have a beanie, which is another type of hat. You can have a top hat. Hat is just a general term. For me, in my part of Ontario, Canada, a cap usually refers to a baseball cap. That's a hat with a brim on the front. So that's the difference for me, but it might have different meanings in different places. So you'll want to be careful with that. But I'm pretty sure hat is just a general term for any piece of clothing you wear on your head. Fox on Guard for Safety says, could you read the following words from the topic of threats? Cyber threats, ransomware, malware, havoc, data breaches. Could you use the word malicious in any sentence? So people who are malicious are people that do things to, malicious people do mean things to other people, okay? So nice people do nice things. Malicious people do mean things. And then cyber threats are threats on the internet, right? Ransomware is software that takes over your computer and you have to pay money if you want to use it again. Malware is also software that just messes your computer up and it will wreak havoc. Havoc is just a kind of chaos or disorganization. And a data breach or data breach. So data and data, there's two pronunciations. I say data, some people say data. But a data breach would be when someone gets into your computer, usually at a business, and takes information that they're not supposed to. Let's see here. Kurdish, hi Bob. Why you are not gonna, when are you gonna do an accent challenge video like you did with Lucy? Really, it's going to be amazing, fantastic, and fabulous. Can you pronounce down, dawn, and dawn? So for me, down, like to go down, and then dawn, like when the sun rises, and someone named Dawn. Those last two have the same pronunciation to me. When am I going to do an accent challenge video? I'm not sure. In the summer, I have time to do collaboration videos, but during the fall, winter, and spring, I don't. So I have had other English teachers on YouTube ask me if I would do a collaboration, and I've said no because it doesn't really fit in my schedule. I am still busy teaching. As I mentioned to some of you, I'm not a full-time teacher anymore. I'm now 80% of full-time. So basically that means instead of working 9 or 10 hours a day at school, I work 7 or 8 hours. So it's still quite a bit of work, but I really don't have time in the fall, winter, and spring to do collaborations, but I will look to do one with somebody next summer. Next question from Arjun. Hey Bob, please do them daily. And my question is, what's the best way to be fluent and increase vocabulary? So I can't do lessons daily. That would be too much. But if you think about it, between this channel and my other channel, I do 3 short lessons on my other channel a week. I do 1 lesson video a week on this channel and 2 live streams. So there are 6 things to watch every week if you really wanted to. And the best way to be fluent, I think, is to have a lot of conversations with an English tutor. The way to increase vocabulary, in my opinion, is to read a lot. I find reading is a great way to increase your vocabulary. Abang says, so the second one is what I would say. I don't want to read out loud a sentence that's incorrect. What is that supposed to mean? So if someone said to me, Bob, your videos aren't as good as they used to be, I could say, what's that supposed to mean? What's that supposed to mean? Okay. What do you mean by that would be the other way to say it, but what is that supposed to mean? It means that I want more information about why someone has said that. Ario says, Hola, Mr. Bob. Yesterday's live lesson, you mentioned nasi goreng. Nasi goreng means fried rice in English. They are the same food, by the way. Why you didn't said fried rice, LOL. Because Bob the Canadian is not familiar with all the foods from around the world. So interesting for me to know that that's what it actually means. And by the way, I am going to buy a package of spices to make that. And I hope to make it this week to see. I've had it as a kid. My grandma used to make it, but I'm going to make some this week myself and see what it tastes like. Hey, let's go to River Cam for a sec while I have another sip. One thing that's changed here out on the farm is that when I do my live streams outside, I've noticed that there are a lot more airplanes flying overhead. I live relatively close to Buffalo Airport. So if I go that way, like 45 minutes by car, I would cross the border and I would be in Buffalo, New York, and there's an airport there. During the pandemic, there were hardly any planes in the sky. It was rare to see an airplane. But I've noticed just in the last couple of months when I do my live streams, I'm starting to hear more and more airplanes. It's very, very cool. Let's see here. Next question. Lemon Cute says, "Hi Bob, have a great day." You too, Lemon. I have never seen you angry before, and I would like to ask, what do you do to suppress your anger? Well, I just don't get angry on video. So I don't get angry when I'm doing an English lesson, but in a couple weeks, I've been doing a series of videos over time. I did how to express worry in English, how to express joy in English, and the one coming up in a couple weeks is how to express anger in English. And I will try in that video to be angry. I'll try to do something so you can see what it's like when I'm angry. My children know what it's like when I'm angry, because sometimes with children, you can get frustrated, and then eventually you might say something loudly in an angry tone. But let's get to the next question. Nitron says, "What is the best way to remember the final sounds which I usually forget to pronounce each time I speak English?" So one way to work on pronunciation and correct use of, tones and sounds in your words is to speak almost in a slow, exaggerated way. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. So that was the example, by the way. You should try to read something from a book out loud a few times a week. And as you read it, try to overpronounce and exaggerate the endings of every word. This isn't a bad thing, because you'll naturally speed up when you start talking with someone else. But sometimes just taking the time to exaggerate the pronunciation when you're alone will help you later. Because when I read your question, here's how I would read it normally. What is the best way to remember the final sounds which I usually forget to pronounce each time I speak English? That's way faster than my normal speed, by the way. If I was to exaggerate it, I would say, what is the best way to remember the final sounds which I usually forget to pronounce each time I speak English? So you can see that sounds kind of weird. Like an English speaker wouldn't talk that way, but it will force you to practice making those sounds at a slower speed. Hopefully that helps. Turk says, "Hello, Bob. How do you make a living in Canada?" Well, I make a living by, we have a flower farm. I do YouTube, which through the ads at the beginning of the videos, I get a little bit of income, and from members as well, people who have joined the channel. But most of it comes from my teaching job. The way I make a living is I go to work every day and I teach high school students about computers and business and French. That's how I make a living. How do most people make a living in Canada? The same way they do in every other country. People are construction workers, they're nurses, they're doctors, lawyers, teachers. They build roads, they're road construction workers. There are all kinds of ways, of course. Let's see here. Natalia says, "Hi Bob, today I have one word for you, constraints. Please tell us about this with examples, thanks." So when you put constraints on something, it means you want someone to do something, but there's things you don't want them to do, okay? So I could say to my students, I want you to write a short story, but I'm going to put a constraint on it. It can only be 2,000 words long, okay? So I've set a limit. I could say to students, I'm going to let you, well, this actually happened this week. My students had to make little videos. So I said, you can leave the classroom to make a video, but you must be back in 30 minutes. So I put a constraint on the time they were allowed to be out of class. So it's whenever you set a limit to something. You can have 2 cookies. So you're putting constraints on how many cookies people can have. Sometimes I have 3 cookies. It's not healthy, but Naid, the Torontonian. Very cool. I've moved to Canada recently, and I've noticed that younger people say could have instead of could have. What's your opinion on this? When we speak quickly in English, we shorten things. So I'm surprised they say could have because they probably actually say coulda. So I could have done this live stream inside, but I decided to do it outside. I could have done it inside. I could have done it inside. I could have done it inside. So it's just speed related. People like to speak as quickly as possible. Anita. Hi, Bob. I hope all is well. How do you describe an adult who is naive in a good way? Thank you. So when you describe an adult as being naive, it means you don't think they're very smart, or it means you think they're acting kind of like a child. So when an adult is naive, I'm trying to think of an example. A naive adult might buy too much food, more food than they could eat. So they might go to the store and buy 4 bags of milk. Milk comes in bags here in Canada. But they don't realize that milk goes bad after 2 weeks. So you would say they were naive because they didn't know something that most people know. How would you use this word? You wouldn't ever tell someone that they're naive. Mostly you would use it if you're having a conversation about someone and they're not there. You might say, Joe's a little bit naive. It's not a nice thing to say. It's actually kind of rude, but that's how you would use it. That's how you would use it and when you would use it. Mickey says, hey, Mr. Bob, which one of these sentences would you say? So I fixed some things there. If I had got sick, I would have gone to the doctor. I would say that. If I had got sick, I would probably say gotten. If I had gotten sick, I would have gone to the doctor. And then the second one, hey, if I got sick, I would have gone to the doctor. You can say both. The second one is somewhat informal, maybe a little bit grammatically incorrect, but a very common thing to say, right? You stayed home from work and you weren't sick, but then you felt sick in the afternoon. Yeah, but if I had gotten sick, I would have gone to the doctor. If I had got sick, the second one is very slangy sounding, very informal. Next question from Faramars. Let's go to River Cam while I have a sip of tea. This cup makes me make slurping sounds. Can't help it. It goes slurp, slurp. Okay, let's get back to the question. Let me check my time here. Oh, we got lots of time. Good. Could you please pronounce adult with an American accent? Thanks anyway. So I would say I'm an adult. When adults go out at night, if they don't take their kids with them, they might stay out later. You expect adults to behave in a certain way. You don't expect adults to be naive, do you? So that is a Canadian accent, by the way. I'm not sure if Americans would pronounce that much differently. Next question from Elsie. Could you please explain the difference between specialty and speciality? Log in and log on, agent and agency, tune and tone. These are so confusing. Thanks so much. So specialty and speciality. I use specialty a lot. My sister likes to bake. One of her specialties is she bakes really, really good bread. Let's get a formal definition though of the second one. Next one, specialty. I don't even think we have speciality. It's suggesting your speciality. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't use the word. So specialty is used in American English, whereas speciality is often used in Britain. So that's why I use specialty, and that's why the other one's not too familiar to me. You can log in to check your email. You can also log on. They mean the same thing. We would probably use log in at this point. I haven't heard log on. Log on to a computer, log into your email, log on to your email. Yeah, you can use both. Agent and agency. So look at it this way. If you work for the FBI, you are an FBI agent and you work at an agency. Okay, so the agent is the person, the agency is the place where you work. Tune and tone. So a song has a certain tune. When a piano doesn't sound right, you tune it. But a tone is a simple sound, okay? So the tone of an instrument, like a violin has a certain tone because the wood makes the sound have a certain characteristic. And with a violin, you can play tunes. I don't think I answered the last one very well, but I'm going to move on. Sorry about that. Next question from Romeo. By the way, I should thank the 448 people who are watching. If you are new here, don't forget to click that red subscribe button, and you'll get notified when I put out a new English lesson. They're usually interesting. I think they're interesting. I have had someone editing my videos for the last month and a half. You might notice they're a little more entertaining. So please do that. And let's have a look at the river for a sec, and then I will jump to the next question. It's actually getting brighter out here. Romeo, hi Bob. I think the snow hasn't started yet. Nope, there is no snow yet. Based on your favorite country, where else would you like to live except Canada and the USA? Have an awesome day. I would love to live in France. France and Holland. France because I've learned to speak French, and I would love to live in France. Maybe just for a summer. Maybe when I'm older, I might live in France in the winter for a month or two every year. But I'd also like to live in Holland because that's where my family originally came from. I was born in Canada, but my parents were born in Holland and came to Canada as young children. Andre Padron, hello, Mr. Bob. What's the difference between broth, stew, and soup? Why is my brain faster in English than my mouth? Well, I can't answer the second one, but it's very common. When I think in French, I can think faster in French than I can speak. I just think it takes a while to get that working right. But yesterday we did a lesson on describing food. By the way, this lesson will come out again tomorrow in a shorter version. And during that lesson, someone actually asked about stew and soup, but not broth. Broth usually doesn't have anything in it. Vegetable broth is just a liquid. There's no actual vegetables in it. Chicken broth is a liquid. There's no chicken in it. It's made by boiling vegetables or boiling chicken for a long time, and then you strain out all the pieces. So all you have left is liquid. Soup is broth with stuff in it. So usually some vegetables or some meat. Stew is a very thick soup. So the liquid in a stew is very thick. It's usually thickened by adding cornstarch or flour, or by cooking the stew with maybe potatoes or something else that's starchy. And that will make the stew thicker than a soup. Just checking something here. Sorry, folks. It looks like everything's good. My hands are getting a little cold, though. Whew. How long will I last? Easily another 30 minutes. Let me make a change here for a sec, though. We're going to go to members only chat mode. Let me get my settings open. Let's go to members. Let's click save. Let's go back here and let's go to no display. While I talk about members, why are members awesome? Members are awesome because they are people. Here's why I have memberships. A long time ago, someone said, Bob, I want to thank you for your lessons. Is there a way that I can do that? And then eventually YouTube offered memberships. On my channel, if you would like to thank me for the work I do, you can become a member for a month, maybe two, maybe for a long time. It's really up to you. It's not required though. Everything I make on this channel, except for one little Wednesday video, is free for everybody. But if you are a member, thank you so much for being a member. Thank you for clicking that join button at some point in the past and supporting me. And thanks to Mariana for just becoming a member now. That's very awesome of you. I'm going to go to Rivercam and I'm going to start to answer questions from the chat from members. One of the perks, one of the benefits of being a member is that you can ask questions directly in the chat. So let me see here. Sean from Free 99 English says, members only, booyah. So he's excited that it's members only time. Julia says, good evening, dear teacher. I have a sentence. All the employees beeline for the clock at our official start time. What is beeline? It means they went straight from their desk to the clock. It means to go somewhere in a straight line. At lunchtime at our school, there is food available in the cafeteria, and students beeline for the cafeteria. So they go straight from their class to the cafeteria to get food. Betty Lou, hi, the cutest teacher Bob. I like your cozy look today. Yes, I'm definitely keeping warm. Question, what do you prefer, morning or night? Tea or coffee, stay home or go out? I do really like the morning. It is hard to get up when it starts to get cold, though. I do like tea, and I do like to stay home. I don't mind going out, but given a choice, I think I like staying home more than going out. Julia welcomes Mariana. Very cool to have you here. Mickey says, Bob, is it cold there? It kind of seems to be cold by looking at your coat. So let's check that for a sec. The temperature right now, I can look on my, it's 9 degrees Celsius. It's 47 degrees Fahrenheit. So for me, quite comfortable. I'm wearing the perfect amount of clothes to be outside. As I've mentioned before, many of you who live in places where there is winter, we all understand that winter and cold weather isn't cold as long as you have the appropriate clothing. You just need to wear the right clothing and you can be outside in almost any temperature. Let's see here. The beeline or is it V-line? It's definitely beeline, yes. Freddie Wolf, Bob, I guess unfortunately there is no need to plant a parasol next to your bench as it seems to be quite cool. Yes, there is no need for us to have any kind of umbrella out here. The sun, it's up there behind the clouds, but it's not shining right now. Let's see here. Eugene says, hi Bob, which song do you like? La Valse d'Amélie, Red River Valley, Take Me Home Country Roads, definitely. John Denver, good song. Audie the Thai, hi Teacher Bob, today no question, just tell you yesterday you made me crazy about food. Yeah, whenever I do a lesson about food, all of us get hungry. The teacher gets hungry, the viewers get hungry as well. Let me jump down to Maria C. Hi Bob, nice to see you outside. Could you use the negative particle, nor in a sentence? I always struggle with the negative grammatical structure. So neither my brother nor my sister is coming over today, okay? Neither my brother nor my sister is coming over today. I'm going to go to my neighbors today, but I'm not taking, no, that's a bad example. It's better off to start a sentence with neither and nor. Neither my blue van nor my red van has working air conditioning. Actually, it works in both. That's just an example. Let's see here. Mode says, last time Mr. Bob was bragging about reading manuals, and he hasn't yet figured out why his new camera suddenly turns off every live stream. Haha, bless your heart, old Mr. Bob. I've figured it out, and there's no way to fix it. It has a 30-minute timeout when you use it as a video camera. The only way to stop it is to connect your phone to the camera and then have your phone beside you. So I guess I figured it out. Yes, I'm trying to think. I figured out how to do it. I didn't say I found out how to do it. I used figured out. Yeah, I think I can see why it's challenging to figure out how to use one over the other. We kind of flip those phrases around, don't we? Let's see here. Betty says, hi, the cutest teacher Bob. What's your favorite learning style? Like visual learner or verbal learner? Do you think learning style affects results? I like learning almost every way possible. I love reading. I like watching videos. I like doing things to learn. If I can follow instructions to do something, I just remember it better. So I think maybe I became a teacher because I like learning in every way possible. Lolly Lolly, bonjour. Please, what's the difference between these two sentences? This is the town which I was born in. This is the town where I was born. They are the same. You can say either. And you might even say this is the town that I was born in. You want to research which and that. There are formal rules with which and that, but we kind of break them a lot. But I would probably say, this is the town that I was born in. Or, oh, that's the town I was born in. Let's see here. I'm losing track of where I am. Julia says, thank you, dear teacher. May I also ask about if you are planning to change time this year in Canada? Yes, we still change the time. I wish we didn't. It really messes up my live streams. People don't know when the live stream is because it changes by an hour. Sean, yes, it's beeline. I always thought it was V-line. I learned something new today. It's like that new term you were talking about earlier, eh? It's even us English speakers learn new things every day. Betty Lou, hi, cutest teacher Bob. What do you think when people say that learning academic vocabulary is useless? How do you respond to that? Stay hydrated. So I'll have a sip while I answer that. I think the vocabulary you learn, like there's levels. You need to learn your basic vocabulary, like your colors and the names for different foods and vehicles and all that. But you get to a point where you can choose what vocabulary to learn more of. So you might, if you work in a place where you need to know a certain kind of vocabulary, you should learn it. And just learning for learning's sake, I think is good. But learning academic vocabulary, I don't think it's useless, but at a certain point, you should learn the vocabulary that helps you the most. If you're a French speaker learning English who wants to work in Canada as a nurse, you should learn nursing vocabulary and medical vocabulary. Mickey says, Mister, if I said the autumn is already fading back to winter, would it be correct? No, we would probably say that autumn is slowly turning into winter. That's the phrase I would use. You know, summer turns to fall, fall turns to winter. That's how I would say it. Is it free 99 or $3.99? It's free 99. LOA depends on your accent. Anita says, thanks, Bob. Can you say an adult innocent instead of naive? I mean, to compromise a friend who's in a good guy, sometimes I feel like he's a child. I would say he's naive. That's definitely the word I would use. Innocent means something different. Like children are very innocent because they don't know a lot about the world. Professor Arlon Joanne, Professor Bob, that's exactly what I feel. Many times I just want to thank you for the beautiful job you do, helping me to learn and improve my English. So I'm a member. You're the best. Well, thank you very much for that. Mode says, haha, good job then, Mr. Bob. Now a serious question. What's the difference between stop in and stop by? So I might stop in and see my mom today. I might stop by and see my mom today. They mean the same. Yeah. Is your sister going to stop by later? Is your sister going to stop in later? They mean the same thing. Definitely. Let's see here. Maria C says, thanks, Bob. Another question. Is there another way to use a double negative? Like, I didn't understand the movie and she didn't either. Is that right? You could say that. That's not a double negative. I didn't understand the movie and she didn't either. That's totally correct. A double negative would be like, I don't want none, right? Like you're kind of using two words or two constructs that mean the same. So it ends up meaning you want some. Merci Bob. Marwanto says, hi. Hi, Marwanto. Julia, I also love learning things, especially since I found this channel. Awesome. Rod, the English teacher, says, I wish you all a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Thank you, Mr. Bob. You're welcome, Rod. Sean says, don't forget to buy a new pair of Nike free 99 shoes. It was great to collaborate with them. Just kidding. It's just a coincidence. Yeah, I should look for those. I need a new pair of shoes soon. Julia, I even know how to build fence. Yes, in my last short lesson, or 2 lessons ago, or the last one, I talked about how to put fence posts in properly. You learn a lot of things on Bob the Canadian's channel. Kaiseta says, hi, Bob. Is there any difference between also and to? You know, I'm going to eat that too. I'm going to also eat that. I'm going to eat that also. You could, in that usage, they are the same. Let's see here. Freddie Wolf. Hi, Bob. I have no further questions, but I just want to thank you for all the amazing work you do. I wish you have a great weekend and all the best. Thank you, Freddie. Mickey says, I promise you, it's my last one. What's the difference between think of and think about? Yeah, when you think about something, you're sitting for a while and you're picturing things in your mind. When you think about, you know, if I think about my mom, I'm picturing her. When I use think of, it's when I I thought of an answer. You know, I'm going to think of an answer. I'm going to think of something to do this afternoon. I'm going to think of a solution for my camera turning off. That's how I would change it. Hey, folks, I'm going to turn off members only chat. I am going to answer the rest of those members only questions, but let me just do this switch so that we have a bit of a demarcation between the two. Let's see here. Thank you for all the... Oh, there we go. Mode eggs. Back to the word naive. Does I think you're thinking of disingenuous or ingenious, which are two different words. But disingenuous has a negative connotation. Brent says, if I gave my students 30 minutes to leave the room and make a video, half would not come back. I want to trade students with you. Is your school hiring? Let's just say this. This is my Fitbit, and it counts my steps. When I allow my students, they're older students though, like they're 16, 17 years old. When I let them go to do that, I get a lot of steps as I walk around finding them and talking to them and giving them further instructions. Betty Lou, hi, the cutest teacher Bob. Do you say have a cow and tickled pink in real life? Could you explain it? Thanks a lot. We used to. Like, don't have a cow. I think Bart Simpson from The Simpsons popularized that. But we don't say it very often anymore. And tickled pink, I haven't used that phrase in a while. It just means to be like super happy about something. I'm tickled pink when more than 500 people watch my live stream. Okay, Hugo, what's the difference between should, must, might, may, and have? I can't explain that quickly in a live lesson, Hugo. But when you should do something, you have an obligation to do it. Like you should drink some water right now. So it's kind of a suggestion / obligation. When you must do something, it means that it's like required. Okay, you must drink water every day. A human being must drink water every day. Might has some ambiguity to it. Like if I say I might go shopping, it means that there's a possibility I will go, there's a possibility I won't. And may has the same meaning as might in that sense. Let's see here. Let's go to Putin. Hi, Bob. Can you explain to me the word bear? At first, I understood it as a noun about an animal, rawr, like a bear. Then I discovered it is also a verb with many different meanings too. Yes, bear has a lot of different meanings. You can bear a grudge, which means you're annoyed with someone because of something they did in the past. You can, when you carry something, the older way to use it is to bear it. Okay. We sometimes say grin and bear it, which means, be happy in spite of a bad situation. There's a lot of them. I should, if you do a search on my second channel, you'll find a bunch of them. Let's see. Nat says, hi, Mr. Bob. Glad to see you again here. In order to avoid the discrimination and racism, what is the safest way to address a customer or customers in the shop? Thanks. Well, if you are the manager and you have the authority to talk to someone, I would simply tell people that unless you can treat people with kindness, you need to leave the store. Okay. This depends on what country you're in, though. Some countries are definitely working hard to end racism. And in other countries, and even in parts of Canada, we're still struggling with this. So it is a confrontation. It is best done with calm, kind words by someone who has authority. If I was an employee in a store and someone was treating me badly and they were discriminating against me or making racist comments, I would probably say, sir, you can't use that language here. I'm going to have to get my manager. Okay. And then the manager could say, sir, that's not appropriate language here. Please leave the store, or please stop using those words or phrases or whatever they are doing. But confrontation is always challenging, and even more challenging if you need to do it in a different language than what you normally speak. Giuseppe. Hi, Bob. Hope you're doing great. The questions may be trivial, but I find it really hard to understand the difference in the pronunciation of to live and to leave. Okay, so I said them very clearly. I live in Canada. In the morning, I leave for work. Okay, I live in Canada. Every morning, I leave for work, usually around 7:30, 7:45. So I live in Canada. Every day, I leave for work. They do sound quite similar, don't they? I leave for work because I love my job. I live in Canada. Every morning, I leave for work because I love my job. I thought I'd throw another verb in there just for fun. Next question is from Katerina from Ukraine with a little hat. Very cool. Hello, dear teacher Bob. What's the weather today? In my town, it's a really deep autumn. Have you ever tasted Ukrainian borscht? Yes, I have now. What sweet do you like? Good. I like anything made out of chocolate. If I eat something sweet, I like it to be chocolate of some kind. Chocolate bar. We call them chocolate bars, candy bars in some parts of the English-speaking world. And then I was going to, the weather today. So we looked at it earlier. If I refresh it, here's your weather report. It says a mix of sun and cloud with 40% chance of showers later this afternoon, high of 11 Celsius. And then tonight, mainly cloudy, low of 2. So it's getting a little chilly here. Let's get to the next question, though. Alexandra Boldron-Ziani. Hi, Bob. Honest answer required. Which one do you watch this afternoon to practice English? Titanic, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Friends, or 007? So, my opinion, and this is not a scientific fact, my opinion is that a television show is a better tool for doing English listening practice than a movie. Okay? I think television shows, what's cool about a television show is you can watch multiple episodes and you have lots of time for your ear to become familiar with how the characters are speaking. If you watch a movie, you watch one and it's done. Although if you're watching Star Wars or Harry Potter, you could look at those like almost like TV series, couldn't you? Or you could watch all of the James Bond movies, but a lot of those are really old. My choice would be to watch a television series. Watch a television series. I think that would be the best choice. Sadula, welcome to the channel. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate that you clicked that join button wherever it is. Whoa, look how bright that is. The sun has come out and now my camera is overexposed. Let me fix that for a sec. Can't have the camera being overexposed, can we? There we go. Let's just adjust that down by 1. There we go. A nice sunny day now. Let's get to the next question though. From Ace. Hello, Bob. Can you pronounce blind, blank, bound, nice and slowly? Oh, nice and slowly. Yes. I thought you were saying pronounce nice and slowly, but I just did a bunch of time. And show usage of one of them. Thank you. Nice one. So when someone is blind, it means they can't see. So sometimes at our school, right now we don't, but sometimes we have a student who is blind and is unable to see. We also have a phrase legally blind, which means you can see a little bit, but not enough to be able to read or drive. So you can see a little bit of light, but you're still legally blind. Blank, sometimes I will give my students a quiz and there will be a sentence and there will be a blank and they have to put the word in the blank. And then bound. I'm trying to think about a good example. Like he's bound to do that. That means he will most likely do it. A book is bound. When you have a whole bunch of pages, when they make it into a book, it's called book binding. A book is bound together. Let's see. Ahmed. Hi, Bob. I am Ahmed from Egypt. My level was B1 and I joined an English course for the last 3 months. I spent 3 hours daily. I want to get to B2. So it depends again, Ahmed, on whether you were working on all of your 4 areas. Remember, when you take an English test, they're going to test your reading comprehension, your ability to write, your ability to understand English, and your ability to speak English. So make sure that you are studying in all of those areas. I would say that, so I did my B1 in French, and then I worked for a year to get my B2, and my score on my B2 wasn't as good as my B1. So I think if you spent 3 hours a day for 3 months, that's more than what I was doing. That should have helped quite a bit. So I wish you all the best. It sounds like you are probably going to be taking your B2 test. I think you should do well. As long as you've practiced all 4 things, right? They're going to score you in 4 different areas. We have Giacomo. Hi, Mr. Bob. In order to learn English and taking into account that I am young, A2 to B1 is a good idea. What series in English without subs to improve my English? That's a tricky one. So first of all, if you're learning British English, look for a British TV show. Secondly, if you like reality TV, watch some reality TV as well as some scripted TV series. What I mean by that is shows like Big Brother or Survivor or The Amazing Race, shows where people, they're not memorizing their lines and then saying them. Those shows have a little more, I think they're better for learning a little bit of informal English. And then do find a show where it is scripted, like a crime drama, and do make sure you choose American or Australian or shows from the UK. But something fairly recent. I used to recommend Friends for American English, but that show is quite old now. It's not necessarily the best choice. Vladislav. Hello, Teacher Bob. I have a question for you. Please explain the difference between should be and supposed to be. Is it the same meaning or supposed to be more rude? Thanks. I should be, let's see. I should be doing farm work right now. I'm supposed to be doing farm work right now. They have a slightly different meaning. If I say, I should be at work at 8, or I'm supposed to be at work at 8, they mean the same thing. And they're totally correct. Okay. At my job, I should be at work by 8 o'clock. I'm supposed to be at work by 8 o'clock. Let's leave it at that. that's two good examples for you. Supposed to be isn't rude though. You know, I'm supposed to be getting 8 hours of sleep every night, but I'm only getting 7 right now. So that would work. Let's see here. Amen. I am a Turkish person. How can I make my English better? I want to know. So it depends on your level, Amen. It depends on where you're at. If you're a complete beginner, the very first thing you should do is learn 500 to 1,000 English words, like just the names of all the things around you. Okay, that's just step one for a beginner. The second thing you should do is find something to read at your level. That might be children's books. That might be books written for teenagers. That might be books written for adults. You should find something to watch. You should definitely be listening to English music after you read the lyrics, the words for the song. And then maybe look for some sort of formal training, or look to hire someone on a website like Preply. There is a link below to Preply, because that person will give you a lot of advice. But generally what's recommended is that you do a lot of listening and then some intentional practice with writing and speaking, and obviously reading and listening. Next question from Chahan. Let's look at the nice sunny day. You can see the leaves on the tree have not turned color behind me yet, but they will soon. Jahan, hi Teacher Bob. Could you tell me which insects are mostly messing around with the garden? So in our garden, it depends on what's growing there. We have leaf hoppers, which kind of drink the juice out of the plant. Those are really bad. We have ladybugs, which are actually good for our garden. We have grasshoppers or locusts, which eat things as well. And then we have, sometimes we have caterpillars, different kinds of caterpillars that mess around and eat things in our garden. We have bees, but bees are good. But definitely caterpillars, I think, do the most damage. Isabel, good day, Teacher Bob. Thanks for your classes. You're welcome. I had a great one showing my students how the fall is. How are you going to celebrate Halloween? Well, thanks for showing your students the fall video. How am I going to celebrate Halloween? Our kids are old enough now that we will not be going out for Halloween. So our kids are old enough that we will most likely stay home and hand out candy. Although we might, on the Halloween weekend, one night go to my sister's for supper. It's not really a Halloween dinner, but we might just go and visit. But this year, now that my kids are getting older, we will not do anything. We're not going to go trick-or-treating or get candy from anybody. Mohammed says, hello, mister. I'm new here and I really appreciate your effort. I need to ask you, I have a problem whenever I speak in English. I fumble a lot, stumble a lot, fumble a lot, mumble a lot. There's a lot of different things that happen when you try to speak English. So here's what I always recommend. Make sure you're having an English conversation in a safe place with someone who's not going to make fun of you at least once a week. It's a good thing to do with Preply. There is a link below. Hire an English tutor who will just help you become more confident with your English speaking. Going out and speaking with other English speakers can be challenging and stressful, but having a conversation with someone who's kind and whose job it is to help you get better can really help a lot. So I would do that for sure. Let's see here. Freddie Le Français. Hi, Bob. I lately saw the word thorough and thorough. The second one is the one I use. Which one of them is right, and can we spell both versions? Un grand merci par avance. I wish you all the best. So I use the second one. The first one looks odd to me, and it's definitely not part of North American English. So thorough, Thorough. Mohammed. Hello, Bob. I am studying English, but my problem is my accent is bad. How do I know what I can say? How do I know what I want to say, but when I talk, no one can understand me. How can I solve this question? It comes with a lot of practice, but you need practice where someone is coaching you on your accent, okay? You are always going to have an accent, but you want to find a way to soften your accent. Again, finding a coach, finding someone you can meet on Skype or FaceTime or Zoom someone who can coach you through the pronunciation of some of the sounds. The other thing you can do is you can shadow someone. So listen to someone on YouTube and hit pause and say what they say, record your voice, and then listen back to it critically and try to figure out. But a lot of it might just be practicing using the right muscles. So that's what I would recommend. Let's see. Brahim says, hi, Teacher Bob. Why we use the term to kill the time? The expensive thing that we have in our lives is time, and we kill it. Many thanks for responding to my question. So the phrase I use is time to kill. And I only use that phrase when I'm stuck somewhere waiting for someone. So sometimes my kids have something after school and then I have time to kill. So basically I have to wait for an hour and I don't have anything else to do. That's the only phrase where we use kill with the word time. If I was waiting for my brother to come pick me up today, I could say, oh, I got time to kill. He's coming in an hour. I don't have anything to do. I have time to kill. Hey, let's go to River Cam while I have a sip. And I do need to wrap this lesson up. So let's go to no display and I will say bye to everybody. So thank you so much for hanging out for an hour. If you're one of the 550 people watching and you're not a subscriber, please click there. Once again, thank you to all of you who are members. You guys are awesome. Thank you for helping out. Thank you for clicking that join button below and just helping support me and the things I need to buy and do in order to do this channel. It is very, very helpful. Thanks again to Todd and Dave for moderating the chat. Thanks to Rod, the English teacher, and Brent from American English with This Guy, and Sean from Free 99 English. Thank you to all three of you for hanging out in the chat. As I've said before, always good to have a few English teachers in the chat while I'm talking away about other stuff. You guys are great. Anyways, I'm going to say bye to Maria C, to Tifan, to Judith, to Julia, to Lolly Lolly, to Mode Eggs, to Ario, bye to Alien, bye to, I think I said Judith already, bye to Dave and Todd. I think I said that already too. Bye to Maria C, bye to all of you. I'm just going to scroll back. Bye to Eugene, bye to Ruslan, bye to Hugo. I have to get going because we have to deliver some flowers. So I'm going to say bye and I'm going to hit the end button. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget, new English lesson on Tuesday. If you didn't watch the one from this past Tuesday, I thought it was a pretty good one. And then live lesson next Friday. And hopefully we'll be outside next Saturday again for the question and answer lesson. Anyways, nice talking. You guys are all awesome. I will see you next week.